back the ball.
How does this keep happening?
Let's make sure we play like the New York Jets and not some slack team.
The Jets. That's not going to go that smoothly.
Feel the same way I feel about your Jets making the playoffs or even being competitive in December, sir.
No question about it. I am ready to get hurt again.
Oh, Manny, that intro sounds so much sweeter when I hear you say we're not going to be competitive in December. But you know what? It's October and we are 500. I wasn't sure if we were going to get here, but we're here. I was more optimistic than Brady Quinn for sure, but I wasn't sure if we were going to get here.
Ooh, I was going to lead off with that. I hate that you took it from my mouth. Because I was like, how do you feel that Brady Quinn is definitely wrong? That was going to be my first question to you.
Well, I'm glad that we're back on this episode 5. We're going to talk after the win, but we have another special guest. We have the host of the Jets Situation Report. And before I bring him on, I just wanted to, just in case you hadn't seen the video that was going around Twitter after we got that Browns victory, I feel like everybody should take a look at the passion behind Mr.
I see Packers fans. I see Steelers fans.
Oh, shit! Oh, my God!
This is my favorite part right here. It's just pacing.
Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh, shit! Oh, shit! Let's go!
That was an
And
awesome.
welcome to the show, Mr. Gunny Gumpy. How you doing, sir?
You're muted. You're muted.
How about now?
There we go.
There we go.
All right. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for having me. That was awesome.
I felt it when I was watching that video, man. I felt it because it's like almost like I relived it when I was watching you go through it.
It was one of those things, man, where like I don't care who you are. If you're a Jets fan, pessimist, optimistic, doesn't matter. We all thought that game was lost. And in all actuality, it was lost. Like in 90 seconds, teams don't come back from it. That game was lost.
Unless you're the Chiefs.
Unless you're the Chiefs, exactly.
Right.
The very rare exception to the rule.
Right.
The Jets are not the exception to the rule, but that day we were. And man, the excitement was real. I couldn't. It's funny too because I actually went back to grab my phone. I don't know if you can see the video. It looked
like you were like going live or FaceTiming or something.
So I did. I went back to grab my phone because I was like, oh crap, this is exciting. I need to go ahead and tweet it out or something.
Yeah.
And my daughter, she was the one that looked at the camera and told her mom, like, Mom, can you pull the security camera? That was funny. Right. So my wife pulled it, man, and she sent it to me, and I was like, wow, that's pretty good. She said, post it. She said, that's gold. Yeah. You need to post that. That's about how it's going to get. And sure enough, my most viewed video of all time. So I can't argue. She was right. It was definitely.
It was gold. And now, before we move on, I need to address one thing. Right. There was a straight United Nations of NFL fandom in your household. I need to know what's going on there because there were like 3 or 4 different jerseys.
Okay. All right. Well, it was 3. Okay. So my brother was the guy you saw sitting here. He was in my studio / office. We're watching the game on this TV. Yeah. He had just watched the Steelers lose, so he was all kinds of pissed off. He's a Steelers fan, lifelong Steelers fan, you know what I'm saying, from Pennsylvania. My wife, you know what I'm saying, who they're brother and sister. My wife is a Green Bay Packers fan. Growing up in Pittsburgh, or Pennsylvania, which is kind of weird because you would think you had a winning organization right there, but she's always been a big fan of Brett Favre. We started watching football, and she decided that's the team I wanted to root for. Took a lot of crap for it, living in Pennsylvania with Pittsburgh right around the corner, to be a Packers fan. But she's the kind of person when she's loyal, and she chose the Packers, and she stuck it out.
It's a good quality in a wife, also.
It really is. I can't argue with that.
That had to be a selling point for you when you're like, wow, you lived in Pennsylvania.
And you're a Pack. Yep.
And you stayed loyal.
Like, she's loyal.
I was like, yeah, you're a
winner.
Yeah, I met her in the Marine Corps, so we both served in the Marine Corps together.
That's awesome.
It had me like, I'm not gonna lie to you, I was a little bit of a freaking, I was young. I was being a young, stupid little young Marine. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of like running around, doing dumb things. And I chased her for like freaking months, man, and she wouldn't give me the time of day. She was not, and I had to work for it, and I never had to work to get somebody just to go out on a date before. And it was kind of pissing me off. But I kept chasing her, and I kept chasing her. Finally, she gave me an opportunity, and I'll never let her go.
But that's when it's worth it, right? When you have to work that hard for it, that's when it's worth it.
Bruh.
That's
Facts.
why we're gonna appreciate that Jets Super Bowl trophy whenever we get it.
So much more.
There
For
we go.
so many years.
So much more. We're not saying this year. We're not saying this year. I'm just saying like when it happens.
When it comes easy, look, I'm a Yankee fan, but I'm telling you, like, they haven't won in a while. But if they win it, I'm gonna be happy because it's been like 12, 13 years. But it won't be like what I'm gonna feel if the Jets win a championship.
Facts. It's facts.
So,
because in my lifetime, I've never seen it. I've never seen us even get to a Super Bowl, let alone win one. It will be nice.
We have another battered fan next to us.
Right. I was one the last time the Dolphins were 1 year old when the Dolphins last were in the Super Bowl, and that was a loss to Joe Montana and the San Francisco 49ers. So I wasn't really being able to watch that game yet. So I definitely feel you guys that if it does happen in my lifetime, I'm going to be a mess.
Oh my God, people can't so the reason why you saw the little kids running around in Packers jerseys, this is a sad story. So again, my wife's a Marine, right? So we're very competitive. There's only one other Jets fan in my entire house, my oldest daughter. And the reason that happened is because when we got married, we're both like big football fans, and we got pregnant with KK. I remember saying, boom, she's going to be a Jets fan. She's like, the hell she is. She's going to be a freaking Packers fan. And we had a little back and forth, and finally we agreed. We shook on it and just like, okay, listen, whichever team has the best season the year of their birth, that team gets claimed by that particular parent.
Oh, that's a rough bet when you're a Jets fan.
So I have 4 kids. I have my oldest, she's 12. She's a
Which
Jets
is Rex
fan.
Ryan era, yeah.
Which is the Rex Ryan era. And then the other 3 kids are all Packers fans. So,
by default,
it's just how it is. But hey, yo, me and KK, we holding it down in this house, man. We staying loyal to the game.
I like it.
It is what it is, brother.
Well, talking about, rough stretches over the last 12 years since the Rex Ryan era, I feel like with this win that we just got this past Sunday, it's like a different type of excitement because we've won before. When we won with their Sam Darnold back in Detroit, it was similar, but not what I feel now because I felt like, okay, we have Sam Darnold. Week 1, we won his debut, blah, blah, blah. We feel good. But I wasn't sure about the rest of the team. But I feel better about the surrounding parts around Zach Wilson than I actually do about Zach Wilson. Because I think Zach Wilson's going to be good. But I'm not sure yet. But I still feel confident in this team because of all its surrounding parts. From receivers, cornerbacks, defensive line. I feel like running backs. I feel like everything looks like it's just coming together. So this 2-2 feels better than I think most 500 moments because we've had very few moments of those in the recent past. What do you think, Gummy?
Yeah, man. It's different. It's a different kind of win, right? And I agree with you 100%. I think Zach Wilson has all the talent in the world. I really believe in terms of talent, not performance-wise, in terms of pure arm talent, Zach Wilson has top 5 NFL arm talent. But it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything if he can't put it all together and show consistency and play the way he did in the fourth quarter this past week, right? So, but like you just said, if Zach Wilson's the guy, which I believe he is, and I'm hoping he is, and continues to progress and show us that, the team around him is night and day compared to what we've seen in times past. We've got playmakers on the offensive side of the ball, and the running back room, wide receiver room, tight end room. Tyler Conklin's a little bit off right now, which I don't understand where all of a sudden the case of the drops and the fumbles have come from. But historically, that's not in his nature. So I'm hoping he cleans that up and we see him getting to the Tyler Conklin we knew we were bringing in as the season progresses. But Garrett Wilson, I think, has shocked everybody. I'll be honest. I'll be the first to tell you, like, I did not want Garrett Wilson at pick 10. I did not want Garrett. I did not want him. If we were going to pick a wide receiver in the round 1, to me, it had to be Jameson Williams. That was the only person that I felt had a elite level skill set, the speed, a 4.33 speed. Like, that's elite level skill set that you can't coach. Everybody else to me was, late first, early second round type talents.
I was saying the same thing, but I understand the injury aspect of it. They needed somebody that could play right now because Zach Wilson needs to prove that he's the guy right now. He can't wait for somebody to come and help him.
No, and I didn't want Jameson Williams either. Like, even with that, I still was like, I didn't want a first-round wide receiver because I really love Elijah Moore. I really think we have a wide receiver one, Elijah Moore. And there were guys that I thought in the second round would be really, really good guys to have. With George Pickens, who was dropping because of his injury. I was also pretty big on Watson as well, who got picked up by the Packers early in the first round. Guys who were big fast, showed the ability to go ahead, and they brought traits to the game that you can't teach: speed and size, right, and strength. So I was okay with us going in the second round to get a wide receiver. So, but I'll be the first to also admit I couldn't be happier that I am not the general manager of the New York Jets and that I would have done what I did. I couldn't be happier that Joe Douglas, being the freaking king of kings that he is, decided he was a 10th overall pick. He was going to grab Garrett Wilson. The dude's a freaking mutant. And I say that because when I was watching the tape of Garrett Wilson originally and all the hype, and I was like, what are y'all looking at? This dude has sloppy route running. Yeah, he's got a pretty impressive catch radius. He doesn't really separate when it comes to like breakaway speed. He doesn't have like breakaway speed. What Garrett Wilson has is a mutant-like, extraterrestrial-like ability to stop and go. He has a violent first step. Like, bro, like when he stops to cut in for a run, even though it's not the cleanest looking like process, it forces that defender to stop. Like, where is he going with this level? It's another gear that you just don't see. You always talk about other gears when it comes to like, breakaway speed. He has a gear that can go ahead and downshift into a stop and then reaccelerate.
It's the fundamentals, kind of like Marvin Harrison almost.
Yes, with a much more violent nature to it though, bro. Oh man.
Yeah.
So watching Garrett Wilson play though has been a delight, and I couldn't be happier to be wrong about not having wanted to draft him, in the first round.
Well, speaking of people being wrong, Manny, I'm going to go to you. Oof. We're 2-2. I know you were expecting us to be a lot worse at this point. How are you feeling about the Jets? You taking us a little more serious now or what?
Well, first of all, correct me if I'm wrong. I technically did pick you guys to be 2-2. The games were incorrect, but I said you would beat the Ravens and I said you would beat the Steelers. Those were the two wins I gave you. So technically, I'm a little right. But for the most part, I was excited. I was excited to see Zach Wilson. That's the guy I was excited to see because, to your point, Gumby, I've told Danny this when we had a preseason show. He asked me, would I take Zach Wilson or would I take Tua Tagovailoa? And my answer to him was, I'll take Tua's accuracy, but I'll take Zach Wilson's arm talent all day. And I think you're exactly right. I think if that guy gets everything right up here, he's going to be a special quarterback. How special? We don't know yet. But my boy Dan here has compared him to Brett Favre, just the type of gunslinger mentality that he has, that he's able to get the ball downfield 60 yards with like so much ease. It's like
a flick of the wrist.
Right. It's gone.
and his release is so quick. It's amazing how quickly he lets go of the ball.
But to touch on what you're saying, Bear Fanatic, like you said, his release is quick, but it's only when he's made the decision to throw the ball.
Correct.
That's the only thing about him. Once he's made that decision, boom, that ball is gone. And we got to see him, like you said, put it all together, Bear Fanatic. My bad. Go ahead.
No, it's all right. I think that's a great point because that's kind of where I was leading into. One of the things that Danny wanted to see more improvement on from Zach Wilson, and I think he did kind of show it this game. I know he had two big turnovers on third down. You want to see him take those away. But what I did see, Danny, was there were some dump offs to the running back. There were some short passing. And you said one of the biggest knocks on him was he's able to get the ball downfield 60 yards, but you want to see him be able to complete those 5 to 10 yard passes just when it's a quick dump off.
But he's missed some. Like this last game,
he did.
He beamed the ball to Garrett Wilson for some reason. Garrett Wilson wasn't that far from him.
Garrett
Wilson had absolutely no shot because he was going Brett Favre to Antonio Freeman. The way Antonio Freeman's fingers were all jacked up. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Garrett Wilson ends up the same way. But I don't know why he can't just put that touch yet. I'm assuming it has to be easier to get that under control than the opposite.
Yes.
So I'm hoping he gets that under control.
When it comes to touch, and I think Garrett Wilson had everybody like in a riot when he said like, "Hey, Joe Flacco just throws an easier ball to catch," right? Like, and like when he first said that, I was like, "Oh crap, what does that mean?" Like Zach Wilson just can't figure. But then you realize Joe Flacco will admit, like, yeah, when I was young, he also had a cannon for an arm. He was freaking bombing it too. It took him years before he got to that point where he understood, I don't need to go ahead and give it my all to get the ball to the individual. Zach Wilson, I think, does that, man, because I think he gets excited. I really think he's still young. He gets excited. He sees that like easy freaking like 10-yard screen or out route, and he's like, ooh, that's going to be at least a first down or maybe even more. And he gets so pumped up. Yeah. Let me get there quick. And he beams it, man, not realizing like, bro, the receiver or the running back had
like right there. He's right there.
3-4 yards of distance. You had plenty of time. And I think he needs to get to that particular point. The excitement level to go ahead and be able to control that much arm strength. I mean, the dude had the fastest like clocked speed for a throw in the preseason.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous, like 60-something. I was like, God, who the hell is catching a 60-something mile per hour freaking football, bro? So, yeah, I think he needs to calm down in the excitement level, and I think that's what it is. When he sees it, when his eyes light up and he knows, oh, my God, I'm about to get this easy first down, or I'm going to lead him, and he just puts too much into it, man, trying to get it out too quickly.
And getting into the actual Steelers game that just passed. Now, he started off a little rough, 8 for 24. Now, I think those numbers are a little skewed just because a lot of those incompletions were throwaways. He was under pressure the whole game. He was running for his life. And instead of taking the sack, he was throwing the ball away. And I prefer him doing that than what he might have done last year, where he was –
last year. He would have forced it.
I see somebody down there. Let me see if I can get the ball to him.
Exactly.
He was like, you know what? There's a picture of him, a still image of him just laying out and just tossing it, just flicking it out of bounds. He almost forced one that got picked by Minkah Fitzpatrick in the second half, where he was trying to throw it away, but he didn't throw it away into the sideline.
Yeah, right.
But that was a little crazy.
Was close. That was close.
Yes. And
I was watching.
I thought the replay. I thought the replay they were gonna reverse. Yeah, so did I.
I won't lie.
But he got things together. I thought that the first half it was a little sloppy. Those 2 interceptions. It was a stupid second interception that right before the half. That was silly. I really thought, and I don't know if you guys agree, the way that first half ended, and then to follow that up with Kenny Pickett coming into the game in the second half, I was like, we're gonna lose this game. I genuinely thought the way that first half ended,
the momentum,
and then to have the Baker Mayfield replay when he came in the second half with the Browns in 2018, I was like, we're gonna lose this game, and we almost did. But it just like as a battered fan, I just felt it. I felt it coming. Manny, what did you think when you saw Kenny Pickett coming into the game in the second half?
Honestly, I want to touch on what you said about Zach Wilson looking rough, and I agree. The numbers are kind of skewed because for the most part, he was throwing the ball away. This man was – listen, even with T.J. Watt, that defensive line was getting to Zach Wilson plentiful during that game, right?
Yes.
So the man was literally ducking, dodging, like the 5 Ds of dodgeball. That man was literally playing during that game. So again –
Neo from the Matrix.
Right. 4 weeks under the belt of not playing. He got injured in the preseason. I think this was a lot more rust, him not trying to force anything, and then ultimately, again, the numbers being skewed because he had to throw the ball away. But when I saw Kenny Pickett come into the game, I saw a different volume from the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, from their offense. I'm like,
the energy.
The energy just changed. And I kind of agree. I was like, damn, I did pick the Jets to win this game just because I didn't trust in Mitchell Trubisky, but I hadn't seen enough of Kenny Pickett to be like, oh, I'm scared of this guy, even if he does come in. But he gave him a brand new energy, and I said, if the Jets lose, it's going to be because of this guy. But let me tell you, the way your defense held out and stood up in that game was also impressive to me besides what I saw from Zach Wilson. But ultimately, for me, and I know we're not giving game balls out here yet, like Zach Wilson being back was huge because that fourth quarter drive to win you the game was very impressive to see from such a young QB.
Immaculate.
And before I go over to you, Gumby, I want to see if I can play this real quick. I want to play just 2 quick plays from – oh, it's not letting me play it. Don't worry. Forget it. It's not compatible. I was going to play – I wanted to show – there was this one pass where Elijah Moore had an out route where Zach Wilson was releasing the ball before Elijah Moore made his cut.
Yes.
The anticipation there was it made me feel so much better about where he is mentally this year because I don't know if he would have done that last year. But when you see it and you slow it down, I wanted to play this and I can't now.
But
it's a big boy throw. It's a big boy throw.
Elijah Moore isn't in his cut yet, and he's already releasing the ball. It's exactly what I've been waiting for because he has the physical abilities he has. We're waiting for the mental to catch up. Together. And that right there showed me that maybe it's not all there yet. Maybe it won't be all there by the end of the year, but it's getting there little by little. And those plays showed the progress. So, Gumby, what did you think about the first half, how he came back, and then, of course, that when Kenny Pickett came in the second half?
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to be devil's advocate, right? I think that the first quarter he played pretty well. I think they drove down the field. You know, they got within field goal range, and then they drove down the field again, and he got into the end zone, right? And I think it kind of fell apart between the second and the third quarter. 100%. Second and third quarter.
That was a very long.
Correct.
Yes.
That was a very long window. But even on his second interception, right, with Conklin, and a lot of people, we've been debating about it. Listen, man, you are a tight end in the NFL getting paid $13 million a year to catch a football. It hits you in both hands. That ball doesn't get intercepted if he doesn't literally hit him in both hands and it gets tipped up. It goes out of bounds.
He should be able to hit him in. He was almost all along. He got to hit him between the numbers.
But you got to look at the tape again. Watch why Zach Wilson had to put it up high. He had two guys. When I first saw it, I thought to myself, "What the fuck are you doing, Zach?" But again, that all 22 film, man, one of the best things I think NFL Plus has done.
Yep.
Yeah, I love it. I watched it again today, and I was just like, "Oh shit, my bad." Can I curse? I apologize. My bad.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let it rip. It's a jet.
Come
on, let it rip.
I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, he had two, like literally in his face, for him to even get the ball out to Conklin at all. I was very impressed. Very impressed. When you watch it again, that second interception. I'm gonna give it 50-50 because throw it away if if you're unsure. I can see that being an option too,
especially in the circumstance.
In the circumstances. So I'm gonna give 50, but Conklin definitely had the ability to make that catch. It hit him in both hands. It wasn't like it was one hand. It hit him in both hands. But I won't lie. When they came, like the second half came around and Pickett came out. This time it was my brother's house. We were watching the game at his house. He lives down the street from me. And
Steeler fan.
My Steelers fan, yeah. So he's happy. He's like, oh shit. He's the whole game. He's like,
He just came over to talk some shit. I bet you he just came over to talk some shit.
No, I was at his house. I was already there.
My bad. Oh, you were there. Okay.
He was quiet. He was quiet as hell. He was quiet as all hell the whole game. And then Pickett comes out, and I'm like, crap. And I'm like, okay, the momentum swung. You already saw in the second quarter.
Right.
I'm like, we cannot be the same old Jets. We cannot do this to ourselves. Then we, of course, lost the lead, and I'm like, come on, man. Like, this can't be how this ends. So now he's talking. Now he's finally feeling pretty good. He's talking. And before you know it, like you said, man, like the defense, like that's where we've seen the defense in the past collapse. Oh, my God, different quarterback. We prepped for this guy. What do we do now? Like, just collapse. They maintained course, man. They still brought pressure. They were still able to adjust. I think with Pickett, you have somebody who I think is more athletic, and he's an unknown, right? You don't have any tape on him to know exactly how aggressive he's going to be, and that can throw a wrench into a defensive game plan. They adjusted on the fly, man. They adjusted on the fly, and I think that speaks volumes. And to see that fourth quarter happen, and I think for me it was when Zach Wilson did hit the Corey Davis catch, right? The 4th and 7, they went for it. And he hit that Corey Davis beautiful pass right down the middle, and it protected Corey Davis. Was it a drop? Was it not? Who knows, right? Who knows?
Gotta hurry up and run that ball.
They rushed. They not even hesitating. Veteran thought process to me. He wasn't going to sit there and celebrate or anything like that. He got everybody back to the line, and then they ran the next play. And that to me, I was just like, yo, okay, we have a chance here. And they of course scored. And when the defense came up with that interception, I was like, oh, we're winning this game. We are going to win this game. And oddly enough, Zach Wilson told his guys the same thing. He's like, let's go down here and score a fucking touchdown and call it a day.
Right.
That level of confidence and swag about the quarterback, like I said before, we still need to see it consistently. Like, it looked great. That fourth quarter, if we could get that fourth quarter action, 2 to 3 quarters out of every game, you're talking about a top 10 quarterback in the NFL at the worst. The worst. And that's what we need to see next, man. Miami's going to be a really good challenge because they look legit, man. And I'll be the first to say in the beginning, I thought Miami was going to be us battling them for second and third place, right? We're right there because Buffalo was still Buffalo. I called it. The Patriots are going to be trash. I'm so happy to be seeing them in last place right now. I don't care if it was Mac Jones or freaking Zappy. They were going to be trash anyway. It didn't really matter. So that's very, very comforting. But right now, I think this is a real good test because this is what I'll tell people right now. And I think you guys, I think Bearded for that would appreciate this.
Yeah.
The Dolphins and the Jets have the strongest young nucleus to take over this freaking AFC East.
Yes. Okay.
Because believe it or not, the Bills after next year, they can't afford a good portion of the players that are making them who they are nowadays. They cannot afford them. It's just a matter of time. we have between the Jets and the freaking Dolphins over the next couple of years, one of these teams is going to be leading the AFC East consistently. And that to me is exciting as hell. So this game on Sunday will kind of give us at least a bit of a hint. Are we better evenly matched than we thought? Although I don't think we're going to really know for sure until we get to what I'm saying, in the second game. But this is going to be a pretty tough game. Our offensive line is decimated, right? Their starting quarterback is not in the game. Right. I think it's going to be telling to see, like, okay, because our two organizations, I think the Dolphins, in terms of proven talent, they have a more talented roster. I've been saying it since the freaking offseason, and I've always felt Tua was probably the biggest limitation. But after seeing McDaniel pretty much maximize Tua's weaknesses into strengths now, well, I'm just like, man, can he keep it up?
I'm about to find the questions.
Can he keep it up?
So, man, you had something. Go ahead.
I did, because I know that Gumby asked if we could curse on this, and we've done it, obviously. Danny, I've always had this segment with you. I said, you continue to shit on people, and then they show up for you. You have to feel happy with the way the safeties played this past game.
Oh, yeah, because I was shitting all over the safeties. The last episode, I was shitting all over them.
Well, before you give me your thought process on it, I want to know something. It's a two-part question here. First of all, do you think Mr. Trubisky had the reason to be pulled in that game? Because at that point, he wasn't playing terrible. He just wasn't playing good. And he only had one turnover. The game was well within reach. It was basically 10 points for you guys in the first half and 6 points for them. I didn't think he needed to be pulled yet. I think that he was kind of in a shit situation. But even when Kenny Pickett comes into the game, that boy throws 3 interceptions, and your safeties, like I said, Denny, they were eating. Give me your feedback on that. Do you think Mr. Trubisky should have been pulled? And ultimately, you're in favor that he did get pulled, because ultimately it turned out to be a dub for you guys anyways.
I was surprised when he was pulled, because I didn't think he was playing extremely bad for him to get pulled. What I think is Mike Tomlin knew that game should have been 13-6, or was it? Yeah, 13-6.
Yeah.
It should have been 13-6 going into half. We should have scored that 3, and they shouldn't have scored because of Carl Lawson's unsportsmanlike conduct, late hit, roughing the passer. So he knew that the score was closer than it should be, and he knew that he needed some type of momentum, some type of push, because if Trubisky would have came back out there, he knew that the Jets were more or less, they were kind of shooting themselves in the foot, and it wasn't that the Steelers were closing the gap. So I get why they did it. I think Trubisky got a raw deal because he wasn't playing that bad. No. But when you have a rookie behind you, you have to play great to keep him back there. And he wasn't doing that. So I wasn't fully surprised. I didn't think it sucked for Trubisky. And as far as the safeties go, they were the 2 worst safeties statistically in the league up until this past weekend.
Yep.
They played well. I'm still not happy with them.
No.
But because they played well. 3 out of the 4 weeks, they still play like shit.
They were trash. They were fucking trash.
LaMarcus Joyner had a passer rating when he's the primary defender close near the receiver of 158.3.
150 something, yep.
And then Whitehead was 150 point something. Horrible. So yes, I agree that they came up, they showed up, and I'm glad that they did. They got 3 out of the 4 interceptions. That's great. That's great. But I'm not going to say, oh, yes, that's it. We got our safeties. No. You have to show it to me for a few more weeks. We have Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle coming into town.
Oh, yeah. They're going to get tested.
Yes, you're going to get tested.
They're going to get tested.
Show it this week. This is the week to show that not against Mr. Trubisky, not against Kenny Pickett, not against Deontay Johnson and
Claypool.
Yeah, I get that they're respectable names, but we got some real speed coming, some real talent
bangers.
Coming.
Some bangers coming to
now it's the time to show up. So, yes, I agree that they showed up. They got the interceptions. I'm happy about it. But in no way am I completely just forgetting everything that's happened before this week. Now, if we're talking about DJ Reed and Sauce Gardner, that's the story.
Them boys good.
Them boys good. Them boys good.
I've been telling Mr. Better Jet fan Danny G here since the preseason. I liked everything I saw about Sauce Gardner from college to what he was doing in the preseason. Yep. The way he there's a clip I shared with him of him covering Elijah Moore and literally his hip rotation, keeping up with him every step of the way. I was like, this is a rookie. I get it.
Yeah,
Elijah Moore is also coming into his second season, but at the end of the day, I know you either have it or you don't. And Sauce, to me, looked like he's had it since he stepped on the field.
Look, I'll tell you right now. So I was taking a lot of static because in the preseason, like as a Jets fan, I've been doing mock drafts since like week freaking 5 of last year, right?
Yep.
And just doing mock drafts. So throughout all of the time of just watching tape, because the Jets weren't giving me anything to be happy about. Okay, let's see what possibly we can get in the draft. Sauce Gardner became somebody that I thought, okay, first round talent. Then you watch it. I was like, you know what? Shit, I want this kid at number 4. And I was doing a bunch of freaking mock drafts, and I was getting Sauce. I was like, ooh, 4th pick, Sauce. Boom, 4th pick, Sauce. Boom. I never stopped. I got him in almost every mock draft that I did. And my number 10 pick every single time was Jermaine Johnson, right? I wound up trading back in to get I always mess up his name, but the center out of with the Ravens right now. The center.
Oh, that's what I wanted. I'm forgetting his name also.
Yeah,
something Lindbaum or something.
Linderbaum. Yeah. So I wanted
also. Yes,
I
said I wanted a second round pick.
But I didn't think he was going to make it. I knew he would not pass the Ravens. I knew he wouldn't. But I kept saying we have enough capital to go ahead and trade back into the first ahead of the freaking. And my mindset was we're going to get Linderbaum as well. I've been saying 3 first-round picks for like months, man. Like, because we just had – you can't put – that's a lot of freaking draft capital, man, to put on a freaking roster. That's just insane. Yeah. Use some of them things. Get those, like, blue chippers who are going to start now. And – For Joe Douglas to turn our draft picks into Sauce Gardner, my guy, that freaking alien, and then Garrett Wilson, and we still got Jermaine Johnson, which I swore he was gone. Once we went Garrett Wilson, man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know about you. The Jets needed an edge rusher bad. I was pissed. I was so pissed.
I was happy that we got Sauce at 4 because I've always wanted Sauce. Honestly, one of my old students went to school with him, James Wiggins, who he played over in Cincinnati with Sauce. And I asked him about it, said he's a good kid and all that other stuff. So I was like, okay, I'm leaning towards Sauce, but I wanted a pass rusher, and I didn't think that we were going to get a pass rusher at 10. Yep. So a part of me was like, you know what? Let's pass up on Sauce and hope that he's there at 10. Not only did we get Sauce at 4, did we get a receiver at 10? How the hell did we end up with the pass,
bro? Who, by the way, is the best pass rusher out of this freaking rookie class right now, bro.
So far, yeah. He's only playing like 30% of the snaps.
Dog. I'm like, man. And everybody was saying, like, so Jermaine Johnson, man, I just love the fact that, to me, I thought he was the most well-polished, like, he could start day one edge rusher because he did more than just get after the quarterback. He could set the edge, and he was a force in stopping the run. Yeah. The Jets needed all kinds of help in stopping the run. So for me, he was my number 10 overall pick. Like, for me, it was Sauce Gardner number 4, Jermaine Johnson number 10. Kayvon Thibodeau, I was a fan of his freak traits because he does have those freakish traits. But let's be honest, man. Individuals who come into the league that already think they've achieved something, oftentimes, man, they fall off. They get the work ethic beat. Exactly, bro. And you've seen it time and time again. So, like, where everybody was like, oh, number 4, Kayvon Thibodeau, I was like, man, fuck that. Listen, man, yeah, it's pretty. It's pretty that he's got all these great, but he's going to come into this league, and guess what? Everybody's fast. Everybody's strong. Everybody's big. You have to be able to outwork them. Sauce Gardner has been proving himself since he got to Cincinnati. And I love that about him. Jermaine Johnson, from freaking Last Chance U to freaking Florida State. Like, bro, he had to keep he was in that rotation with Georgia, and he was you know what I'm saying, like, playing well. But that's probably one of the most stacked defensive lines of all time in college freaking football. But to bet on yourself to go to Florida State because, like, you know what? I only have 1 year of eligibility left. I need to make a name for myself. Let me just freaking transfer, go to Florida State, and make them. Bro, that kind of work ethic and dedication, like betting, like, that is such an underrated quality. And we got 2 guys in Sauce Gardner and in Jermaine Johnson who have had to fight for everything that they've got. Work ethic matched with talent, bro, that is fucking unmatched. Like that, I wanted Jermaine Johnson and Sauce Gardner 4 and 10. And the fact that we got JJ at 26, man, I'm still to this day like, how the hell I'm not a GM, but how the hell did so many freaking teams pass up on this kid?
So we got the young core. We're 2 and 2. I'm gonna go to you, Manny.
Yep.
You said we wouldn't be competitive in December.
I still don't think you're going to be competitive in December, but that's
okay.
just
Well,
me.
that's where my question's going. Okay.
Okay.
So we're 2-2. We
Yeah.
We're 1-2 with Joe. We're 2-2. Zach is 1-0.
Yep.
So your outlook for this season, still, we're not going to be competitive. Because just to preface this, Gumby, since you probably haven't heard,
Okay.
I told my expectation this season is when they put up the graphic in December by Christmas Day, and they have that cute little graphic where it says the wild card teams, and then right under says
in the hunt.
I want to be at least in the hunt. If I'm in the hunt,
Same here.
I'm
happy.
This is a good season.
Great season.
This is a good season of growth.
Great season.
And then now Manny said that I am dreaming for thinking that I'm ever going to be in the hunt. So I want to tell me now, Manny, so I can make sure I clip this and play it back.
Yeah, receipts.
Clip
Get
it
the
and
receipts.
Get the receipts.
Where's my receipts? So yes, Manny.
Listen, I think, I'm glad you said it.
Manny. I'm keeping the receipts.
Keep them all. Keep them all. I'm gonna set you up with this. What Gumby just said is exactly what I feel about your team. You found those blue chip cornerstone rookies in Sauce Gardner and Jermaine Johnson. You have two great picks right there to set up and build your team around. Zach Wilson, you're not sure yet. He's shown signs, but of course you're not sure yet. Your backfield, I told you coming into this, I thought your backfield was going to be a bigger powerhouse than what it's been up till now. But again, offensive line being terrible.
And
go ahead.
Just real quick, we are 32nd, dead last in the league rushing attempts.
Yep,
dead last.
We're haven't even tried to use these guys.
I was so shocked with how often we ran it in the fourth quarter. Yeah. I was like, now we decide to run it when we're trying to catch up. Bruh. So go ahead, Manny. I'm sorry.
No, it's a fair point because that's what I was going to lead to it as well. I'm like, for us coming into the season, I said, all right, not sure about Zach Wilson. I do feel good about him in the future, just not right now. Breece Hall, Michael Carter, I think those are going to be your workhorses. I think you're going to hand the ball off to them guys 60% of the time, make the passing game about 40% of the time. It hasn't been that way, as you said, just 32nd in rush attempts. But for the most part, the reason I don't feel like my outlook has changed is because of that running game. I need to see that running game be as effective and be your cornerstone to set up that pass for Zach Wilson. You need to alleviate as much pressure off of Zach Wilson's shoulder, still being a young quarterback, still coming back from an injury, still being rusty. And now, like you said, with the Miami Dolphins defense coming into town, you have to run that rock, and it's something they're not doing. So for that simple stat, until they show me that they could actually run the rock effectively, I can't change my outlook. I still give you guys 6 or 7 wins for the upcoming season, but everything could change. All of a sudden, you guys start running the ball, you start getting, let's say, 80 yards from one guy, another 70 from another, and these guys are actually also catching the ball out of the backfield. Yeah. So it's not like if they're just one-trick ponies. These guys could also catch the ball out of the backfield. For me, if I was a Jet fan, I'm saying, why are we not using these guys more? That's my point of view. My outlook hasn't changed. What about you, Gumby?
That's all fair. I won't lie to you. That's very fair. I'm also surprised with the lack of utilization from our running back room. I really thought it would be a strength and we would lean on it, like in terms of Breece Hall, Michael Carter.
They're studs.
They're studs.
Well, real quick, Gumby, I was highly upset when we drafted Breece Hall because I didn't think we needed a running back. I love Michael Carter. I wanted Dean Martin. That's his name? Is Dean?
No, Dean. Yeah. Jacoby,
the linebacker Dean? From Georgia.
Yep.
Yeah, Kobe Dean.
Kobe Dean. Yep.
That's who I wanted.
When he dropped, bro, I swore. I remember going to bed freaking that night thinking to myself, shit,
we're going to get him.
Still there.
Right.
We're going to get him. This is going to be great. And then when we traded up, bro, I had already saw. I was like, oh, hell yeah. Kobe Dean. Here we go, baby. What the game? Breece Hall. And I'm like, Breece, what?
and look, and when I looked him up, I understood and I got happy that we got such a talented player, but why? We already have Michael Carter, so it made no sense 100%. To me. But go ahead.
Michael, a million times you and I were on the same page.
Yeah.
So when we got Breece Hall, I had already known he was the number 1 running back like in this draft class. I got it. But to me, the bigger need was linebacker or safety. Brisker was still there, and so was Dean. If they had gone Brisker, I'd have been like, all right, cool. He was probably like 3rd, 4th safety on the board, which, by the way, he's the number 1 safety right now in the rookie class. So yep. I definitely wouldn't be happy with that performance.
He's outplaying Kyle Hamilton, huh?
Significantly so, which that's a story for a different day.
Right.
But significantly so. But I wanted Nakobe Dean, man. And I know they said that, he had this freaking injury and blah, blah, blah. He's playing lights out right now in Philly. Have y'all seen this dude play?
Yeah.
Bro.
Wife,
this kid.
My wife is an Eagles fan, so I get to watch him as well. Yeah.
But this is the thing. If we didn't have any intention of running the rock, why did we draft Brees Hall?
Thank you. So again, like I actually
that's why
said
my
this
outlook hasn't
last
changed.
week. But the thing is this though, I do believe it's because we have been playing from behind, right? Joe Flacco was pretty much a fumbling / like Joe Flacco was bad. And Joe Flacco to me, when I originally thought, okay, we can get through the first freaking like 4 to 5 games with Joe Flacco. This guy's a veteran, you know what I'm saying? Had that freaking incredible Super Bowl run. Like he's 33, 34. He's not that old. Joe Flacco was about as efficient as the Statue of Liberty being hiked the ball back there. It was bad.
But before the season started, if I tell you Joe Flacco starting the first 3 games of the season, what are you saying? Give me at least one win.
I would have said 2-1. If I'm being honest.
Okay.
Fair
I would
enough.
have said 2-1.
I would have said just give me one. Give me the Browns game, which is what we got.
This is what I thought. I would have said Ravens and Browns. We would have lost to Cincinnati, but I would have thought Ravens and Browns. And the reason why for the Ravens, just for the record, they were coming in banged up. They had no freaking time to play together in the offseason. Freaking Lamar Jackson still pissed off about his kind of. So I thought to myself, you know what? There's a lot there to distract them. We can sneak one at home. We can sneak that win. And of course that didn't happen. Also. Yep. Yeah, and that was very disappointing. But in terms of this year, I do believe we're going to be in the hunt. And this is why. This is why, British Fanatic. And everything you said was 100% on point. Come on. 100% on point. But who the hell saw freaking the Bengals playing the way they're playing right now?
Fair enough.
Who the hell saw the Broncos playing the way they're playing right now? And the Raiders, also an early favorite to make the playoffs, are 1-3. So it's not just the Patriots. Well, I already knew from jump.
Bad. But I didn't think they were going to be
this bad. Yeah. But I'm like those 3 senators mentioned, though, were all considered playoff favorites.
Yes.
They were all considered playoff favorites. And they're right now, they've got worse records than us. They're looking up at us right now. So for me, I'm looking at it like, okay, I was hoping to be in the hunt. That was my thing, too, in December, be in the hunt. This being the conversation. Was I expecting this to make the playoffs this year? No. We're too young, too inexperienced. But what's crazy is our young guys aren't the ones costing us penalties. Yeah. Our young guys aren't the ones costing us games. It's these veteran guys who I don't know what the hell is going on.
That's a great point.
They're playing like rookies. So if our rookies who are as uber talented as they are already playing at a veteran level, which I think we can agree, Sauce Gardner right now being freaking number 2 in passes defended in the entire league, I wasn't expecting that by week freaking 4. They're playing at a level that I don't think anybody, to include Jets freaking optimistic fanatics, thought was possible. That changed my dynamic. Not only am I expecting the Jets to be in the hunt, I'm expecting the Jets to be legitimately fighting for that last wild card spot. I'm legitimately feeling the Jets will fight because I think we can beat Denver. I think we're gonna beat Denver this year. I'm starting to believe Russell Wilson might have been a systems quarterback in Seattle because seeing you got better offensive line, better offensive weapons, a better running game, and you're playing like that. A 59% completion percentage from Russell Wilson. What's going on? My boy said something that was kind of like, it made me think, wow, you're probably right. Russell Wilson is so accustomed to having to be like that freaking like improviser kind of a quarterback that he knows he has to run around to go ahead and extend plays because the offensive line has never been good in his tenure. Now he's got an offensive line. He's got too much damn time. He's overthinking it like, oh, shit, I'm back here. No one's touched me yet. What do I do with the ball? And I think that has thrown him for a loop, bro. And
I hope that's not the case because you could work around that. Eventually, he'll get used to the time then.
As long as it's not before us, I'm okay with it. He can go ahead and keep trying to.
We're coming up soon.
He can figure it out. Yeah, after the fact. We got him in like 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks?
We got Green Bay after Miami and then Denver.
And I think Green Bay is another team that we could potentially beat. A lot of people I would have said was a loss in the beginning of the year. Won't lie to you. That was one of my L's. But
the reason I feel good about the Packers game is because for some reason they chose not to have a bye week after their London game. So they're playing in London on Sunday against the Giants.
Coming to us.
And then they play the following week against the Jets. Usually teams request a bye week the week after. They're playing
and they get
after.
it.
So
they did that because they didn't think that's the Jets. Yeah, we'll be all right. It's a bye week anyway. That's exactly why they did that. They thought we're coming back to a bye week anyway. a scrimmage game. We'll just call it a day. But the way they're playing, they need every single win they can get their hands on. And
they got a good defense though.
Do they though?
Yeah,
they're the 19th ranked defense right now. On paper, on paper,
I have to look on paper, but I've been watching. Their defense is looking solid. I have to look on the paper.
I'm not. The Packers, bro, aren't. You know what? You know how I know the Packers aren't that good? Because I watched the game with my wife.
Oh,
and my wife
that's right. That's right. You got the inside scoop,
bro. I'm telling you. She's looking at this game. She's like, "What the fuck is going on?" Like, and I'm like, "Ooh, you're scared. You're scared." She hasn't been scared. She hasn't had to. She went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers. She's been living her best life for the last freaking 15 years. Now she's like, "Oh shit, okay, we have got to do better."
The Packers have allowed the least amount of yards in the NFC, and the only other team that's lost the less yards is the Bills.
What's their overall?
Ranking? I have to check. I'll tell you in a sec.
Okay, because I look at those guys, man, and they don't scare me. And who have they played too? They play the Bears. You're gonna get freaking stacked. They play the Bears. Like they haven't played anybody. I'm telling you, if you watch the Packers play right now, you're looking at them and you're like, oh shit, okay.
Even A-Rod hasn't been looking good.
No, and now, but in all actuality though, like. Who's he throwing it to, though?
Right, and
you know what I'm saying?
I'm not knocking him because I know he's a great quarterback, but he really has nobody. He has nobody to throw the rock to.
At one point, like my wife was just like, he'd probably be better if he just threw it up in the air to himself and he ran down the field and caught it. And I laughed because I was like, you know what? You're probably right because it's been looking pretty bad. You know, Randall Cobb is pretty much on his last leg. I don't see anybody in terms of the wide receivers that Sauce Gardner and freaking DJ Reed and Carter couldn't freaking lock down. That's why I feel confident about that game. Because they have tier 2, tier 3 wide receivers, 7th overall. But they played the Bears.
They played.
All right, because I'm like, it looks great on paper, but I promise you, bro, like when you're watching those guys play, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's not impressive.
Well, before the Packers, we got the Dolphins. So
yes,
I wanted to get into the Dolphins. No, it's all good. I want to get into the Dolphins, and who better to get into the Dolphins with than this bearded fanatic over here who is we get the inside scoop of what the Dolphins really think of the Jets. So you tell me, Manny. You tell me. Luckily, look, before we get started, Gumby, you need to understand the reason I agreed to do this show with the Dolphin fan. One, we've been friends for a while, and two, we talk a lot of shit to each other. But when we get serious and talk X's and O's and everything, we call it right down the line. So even though I know we talk shit to each other, when I ask him for an honest opinion, he'll give it to me. Yep. So give it to me, Manny. What you thinking?
Honest opinion. One of the funny things when I was watching, by the way, I got 2 quick questions for you, Gumby, and then I'll get back to my point. One of the things that got brought up during your show when I was watching is you had a commentator say Dolphins Twitter is stating that the Jets aren't a problem. We could beat them with Teddy Bridgewater. Now, I don't know if you saw that comment, but I saw it coming and I giggled a little bit. I'm not going to lie, giggled a little bit because I kind of thought the same thing when I was having the show with Richmond Webb and Danny yesterday. I said, if there's a time for Tua to take off, even if he passed every single test, I think it's Jets week. So when you alluded to the fact of the Packers not taking a bye week because it's just the Jets, it is what it is. And I think that's the outlook that I currently have. Mm-hmm. Because you guys haven't shown a full 4 quarters yet of being a team to worry about, I'm like, if Tua's going to take a week off, this is the week to take off. That's first. That's Danny, one of the things you mentioned, you guys do have a lot of options at wide receiver, right? One of the things you mentioned also was if Xavier Howard is out, you guys are going to be able to pick on us as far as the passing game goes if our pass rush doesn't get to you. Xavier Howard will play. Byron Jones is still out. So that's a benefit. But again, you guys have more than one good receiver on your team. Max Mitchell is out for you guys. I'm sorry, he's doubtful.
He's out.
And then he's out.
He's out.
He is out. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, it's a dislocated knee. There's no way he's out.
Okay, so I don't know why they got him listed as doubtful. And then we're on the road to you guys. And Danny, you said that most of the times when we win games, it's when we visit you. And
for some reason, the Jets and Dolphins, they always beat each other.
Play
in each
better
other's home.
on this team.
Yep. I'm not sure why that happens.
Weird.
Yeah.
And my honest opinion, and this is the last one before I let you guys take over, is you guys are worried about your safeties, right? All I want you to do is that video that you showed, Gumby, of you running around the house of that amazing comeback. I want you to think how I was when Tua threw 6 touchdown passes against the Baltimore Ravens, when their safeties were not doing a good job of keeping up with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. So my immediate thought is the fear that you have in your safeties is the fear that my receivers are going to instill in you this upcoming week. And it's going to be a problem for you guys to stop Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. Even Mike Gesicki. I think Mike Gesicki is due for a good game. He hasn't had one yet.
You better, because the way you've been hyping him up all year, he better have a good game.
Hey, look, I'll be the first to admit I got Gesicki in like 4 of my fantasy football leagues. That motherfucker's a baller,
I have him also.
Yeah.
I thought
he hasn't shown up yet.
He'd be a top 5 tight end in the league. I thought this year he's been ass.
You heard him?
But I'm not going to say that. Because
he has been ass.
Tyreek Hill, he has, but because why? They got Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, bro.
Because they have no patience anymore. They have no patience anymore. All they do is, oh man, it's taking us 3 plays to get downfield. Let me launch it 50 yards, and it's like, Jesus Christ, man.
But what sucks is it's working, bro. Like,
yes. That
Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are like,
it's working because, like I told Manny, because people didn't respect Tua's arm yet. So they're playing cover 0. They're playing cover 1. Yeah. Now they're going to start respecting him. It's not going to be as easy because people are like, all right, this motherfucker can't get it down the field. Let's make sure we got some safeties back there. But the Ravens game, they were just running free because they didn't. They said, you got to show me that you can do it. And he showed it.
That's true.
He showed it. Look, when he tried to do it against the Bengals, what happened? He got picked off.
He got picked off. He got shut down. But I'll say this, right? So the Baltimore Ravens game, and I've been the biggest advocate to say that the Miami Dolphins has, I think, the second most talented roster in the AFC East. It's a very talented
AFC
roster.
East. Okay,
in the AFC East. And I've been adamant on saying, like, the only reason why these guys, I don't take them, like, I'm not scared of them like I am scared of the Buffalo Bills, is because of Tua. Yeah. But that Baltimore Ravens game, bro, look, I don't give a crap that they didn't they didn't respect it. He made some throws that were big boy throws. Like,
thank you.
And it sucks to admit that because I hate Tua. I don't hate Tua. I hate that Dolphins fans think Tua is a franchise quarterback. That's what I hate. I hate that.
We can talk on that for hours, but I'll let you get back to it.
And so, but I think he's a game manager. Like I really do. I think he's the equivalent of a Kirk Cousins. But Kirk Cousins is going to the Super Bowl. But Tua in that game, I was like, shit. All right.
Even quote unquote concussed Tua doing those big third down plays against the Buffalo Bills, like the kid is showing you, I got this. It's just about, again, not the same level as Zach Wilson, but it's about putting it together.
I will tell you that with Tua, it's kind of like what I felt with Ryan Tannehill. And Manny will tell you all day, I used to pray and pray that Ryan Tannehill would have just a couple good games before he got injured. Because I knew he was going to get injured. Oh, wow. Because it would keep the Dolphins hopeful and he would stay with the team. Because I knew, although he was a decent quarterback, he'd never take them anywhere. So please, like, I wanted the Dolphins to never give up on him because as long as he was there, I knew we didn't have to worry about the Dolphins. Then again, we sucked that time, so it doesn't matter. But I knew the Dolphins wouldn't be good either. And that's kind of what I'm hoping with Tua.
Here's what's scary, though. I agree with you. I don't think Tua can take these guys to the Super Bowl. I think that they have a roster that, I shit you not, are playoff caliber, potentially Super Bowl caliber roster if you had a freaking quarterback.
If they drafted correctly.
At the quarterback position.
Herbert.
But like Herbert would have definitely, like, if Herbert was literally now a Dolphin, bro,
that's it. We'd be done. We'd be done.
Literally hate life because
we'd be
roster, that coaching, and then Herbert, bro, like, we're literally fighting to do the third place every goddamn year.
100%.
But Tua, I'm with you, man. I'm glad that they love him so much, bro, because I do think he's still limited. But it's limited enough to where McDaniel can maximize his skill set, which would be a problem for us to get to the fucking playoffs, right? I mean, like, the Buffalo Bills are the Buffalo Bills. I think right now for this year, next year, let's be honest, they're the top dogs in our division.
I've said that before the season.
Yes, the Dolphins beat them, right? Which, again, I don't care if they had, like, freaking their 7th string goddamn cornerbacks out there. It doesn't matter. A win's a win. Dolphins beat them. But I think, like, nonetheless, even, again, logical Dolphins fans will tell you, like, yeah, man, those guys are freaking scary talented. And I think this next game, bro, they're going to come for y'all, bro. I think they're going to cut. I've never seen an offensive coordinator lose his shit the way the freaking Bills offensive coordinator did. Yeah. Bro, I was like, oh, they're going to have a game plan like, oh my God, but when they get back. But I think right now, like I said before, in our division, it's between the Jets and the Dolphins in terms of longevity. We had the pieces in place in terms of youth, combination of youth and veterans that can afford to keep this team together longer than the Bills do. The Patriots, I don't even know who they don't even have talent for us to worry about.
They're about to rebuild. They're about to rebuild.
It's just a matter of time. And I don't think Bill Belichick knows how to do that because he's never had to do that, right? Yeah. He's always had Tom Brady to go ahead and hide any kind of discrepancies. And I think what this further proved, as much as we all hate it as Jets fans and Dolphins fans, Tom Brady is probably the greatest quarterback of all time because he was able to mask so much.
I fought it forever. And
I did. Same here. I did
after the 28-3 Falcons Super Bowl, I gave in. I was like, all right.
I gave in. I was like, all right, he's a GOAT. He's a freaking GOAT.
Not me.
I know.
I've been preaching.
No, he's been a Tom Brady lover forever. It makes me sick.
Hater or lover?
Lover.
Hey, here's my point. Here's my point to why. Because
he lived in Tampa when he went to Tampa.
I did. But I was already moving back. Listen, besides the point, let's not get off subject. But I will tell you because I want to defend myself here. Yeah, Tua hasn't proved that he could get us to the Super Bowl. All right, facts. Boom. I give you that one. But the reason I was a Tom Brady fan is because I saw the greatness in him when every other single Dolphin fan, Jet fan, and Bills fan didn't want to accept what was right in front of them. Tom Brady has been great forever, but he's like, no, it's Bill Belichick. No, he's a system quarterback.
Yep, guilty.
Inside my gut, I felt so happy to be able to look at every other Dolphin fan, Jet fan, and Bills fan when he went to Tampa Bay and won a Super Bowl his first year.
That literally, like, all right, I got it. Let me just go ahead and
I was looking at Bill. Hey, Bill, how's Mac Jones looking? That's what I did.
And it looked like he might do it last game.
Last year, bro. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I was watching Tom Brady run through the NFL with Tampa Bay, and again, like you said, Battle Jets fan, I fought it. I kept fighting it. Like, no, fuck no, he's not that good. I refuse to accept that he's that good.
Me too,
bro. But like, and then as a football fan, we have to sit back and be like, this dude, nobody will ever do what Tom Brady has done. Nobody will ever achieve the pinnacle. It's not going to ever be done again. We were blessed. To
see such a good quarterback.
To see such a quarterback play at that level, bro.
I don't know if I'm going to say blessed, but
bro,
yeah,
you got to be.
I witnessed it. I witnessed it for sure.
You can tell. We can tell our grandkids, like, man, greatest quarterback to ever play the game, man. We got a chance to get our asses beat by him at least twice a year
for 20 plus
years. For 20 plus years. Listen, bro, man.
And yeah, you're a bigger man than me, Bearded Fanatic, because I swear to God, man, I was going to try to deny it to the day. The moment he left freaking the Patriots, I was praying like, oh, man.
I was cheering that he left. I was like, finally, don't have to deal with him anymore. And then, long and behold, he was everything I thought he was going to be. He gets stamped by, he wins.
The one argument I always had was Matt Castle in 2007 or
Same
2008.
Here.
That was my argument. I was like, Matt Castle won 11 games with Bill Belichick.
Yeah. And
Get
then
out
he
of here.
Got the bag, and he was trash. Like freaking. Yeah. Oh, the other guy too.
That was my
the Houston Texans. He went to the Houston Texans.
Yes.
Whatever the frick his name was.
Matt Castle.
No, it wasn't Matt Castle. It was the other guy. That freaking tall, lumbering. Matt Castle went to the Kansas City Chiefs and got the bag from them. Yeah. Playing for the Patriots. What is that?
I don't know. They had a bunch. Every time a backup went in there, they
would win. Yeah. And then they would go somewhere else. And they were
like a bunch of them.
By the way, that 11-win season, who won the division that year? I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember who won, but
Chad Pennington won the division. Chad Pennington won the division.
Never forget where he came from.
That's right.
Listen, we've beat around the subject a little bit. You asked me my opinion. You got Gummy's opinion. Ultimately, how do you feel about the Dolphins coming to town this week?
All right. So before the season started, I told you, and even the last couple of games, I've told you, I thought the Dolphins were winning games with their defense. And I think you agreed with me.
Yeah, but you should on my defense a little bit. Remember a couple episodes ago.
I'm going to keep shitting on them.
All right,
just give me a second.
Go. Okay, go.
I decided to look up some stats. The Dolphins are 31st in the league against the pass.
I'm about to say, like, what are you talking about? They're pretty bad
Well, because I've watched the games. I've watched every single snap because we also do a Dolphins show. So I've watched every single snap. And I'm like, okay, they're getting opportune turnovers, right? Yeah. They don't beat the Bills if they don't force that fumble and end up in the 2-yard line to punch the ball in. Like, but when I look at the
teams
stats,
find a way to win. Just saying.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we'll see about that. So 31st against that. They've only had 7 sacks all year. There's only 3 teams that are worse than them.
Yep.
I think the Panthers, the Raiders, and the Cardinals. Everybody else is better than them as far as sacks. Like, it makes no sense to me because when I watch them, I'm like, okay, this defense
look great.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
But statistically, they're shit.
Yep.
Now, what I think it is like we've said, they're all or nothing with that zero blitz.
Yep.
They bring the house.
Facts.
And when they get to the quarterback, they either force a turnover, whether it be a forced fumble,
Yep.
or they pressure somebody into a bad pass. So what I was telling them yesterday when we did the Dolphins episode with Richmond Webb, I was telling you guys, I believe that if you guys come out and zero blitz us all game long, Zach Wilson has the legs to buy time to find one of our three receivers, because we have three receivers that can make plays. And I truly believe that. And what I don't know is two running backs. So I don't know if you guys are going to stick with that game plan, because it feels like you guys are pretty adamant to stick with it no matter what. Like you said, even when it's not working, you guys bring it. Yep. And I last game, Zach Wilson was running for his life the whole game. He was pressured over 65% of his plays, but he only got sacked once. So that tells me that we have an advantage in that aspect if you guys decide to play that way. So do I think we could win? I do think we can win. I do think we will win. I think we'll be 3-2. And before I finish, I wanted to throw this one thing just to show you how bad the Dolphins and the Jets have been over the last decade. You want to know what's the last time that after week 3 we played each other and we were both at least 500?
When?
It was week 14, December 12th, 2010.
God damn.
The Jets were 9-3 and the Dolphins were 6-6. That was the last time that we played each other after week 3 that we were both 500 or better.
That sounds like the Tony Sperano era. R.I.P. Tony Sperano, but that sounds like the Tony Sperano era.
Yeah. I guess I was about to say something, but you're right. I'm going to keep it there.
Yeah, okay. Stop it.
All right. So yes, I think we win. I think we put up 27 on your shitty defense. And I think
27.
Teddy Bridgewater is more athletic than Tua Tagovailoa.
Yep, he is.
The one problem that I've seen with the Jets is that they're not disciplined with keeping containment. They seem to swing back in, but he's only playing 30% of the snaps.
No, like game one, we've actually.
Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, he's got Lamar Jackson.
But you know what? We talked about this in our first episode or second episode. Yeah. I felt like Lamar Jackson wasn't looking to run at all.
See, a lot of people say that, but the thing is with Lamar Jackson's runs, bro, like it's all based off of broken containment and of course the run option. When you got Q crashing the middle the way he was and Carl Lawson. I love that freaking all 22 because you would see Carl Lawson, no bullshit, like beat his man and just wait. Like he wasn't running. Right. And then like after a couple of he would then pursue. I think that containment I felt big, like man.
That contain but Lamar Jackson, I agree. But like Kenny Pickett, for example, we'd come in and then there's so many different ends playing. I don't even know which ends it were. But they would come back in and they'd come back in instead of keeping containment, and then we'd give them room to either get run for a couple yards or try get out and find an open receiver. Now, if we can keep containment with Teddy Bridgewater, I feel pretty confident that we can contain them to an extent. Now, it all depends on our safeties. And we'll see how our safeties do. But I do think we're going to put 27 up on you.
Okay, and what was our score? Because I didn't think I heard that because I was laughing so hard internally. You said 27 for you, and what was for us?
17.
Whoosh. All right, Gumby, I don't want to answer it yet. You go ahead. You go before me, man. What's your prediction for this game?
All right. Look, I'm as optimistic as it comes when it comes to being the Jets fan.
That boy said 27 points. That's what I got to say.
Look, Gumby, just to be clear, up until today, I think the most I've predicted for the Jets is like 17 or 20 points. I'm usually down on the lower tier, but I feel very optimistic about this game.
The floor is yours, Gumby.
Before I give you my prediction, I want to go ahead and preface it with this. Okay. So when I did my videos for my predictions, I had the Jets beating the Ravens. We lost. When I did my prediction for freaking the Cleveland Browns game, I had us losing it, and then we won. Then for the Cincinnati Bengals game, I thought, you know what? They're coming in. Worst offensive line in the league, 13 sacks. We're going to go ahead and eat. I had us winning that game. We lost. Last week, I had us freaking losing to the freaking Steelers, and we won. So, with that said, the New York Jets are going to lose this game. 21-24.
Okay.
So 21-24 is what I think the score is going to ultimately be this game. And I do believe it's going to be a test both for Zach Wilson. Again, like you said before, man, our offensive line right now is in shambles. And we're not too sure if Dwayne Brown is going to be out there or whatnot. Like, if Dwayne Brown is able to come off of injured reserve, I think it kind of changes the dynamic a little bit. But the Miami Dolphins does have a really good offensive line. There's no denying that. Our guys have to get home. And the ability to go ahead and contain freaking Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, bro, like that's where I'm scared. That's where I'm scared. I won't lie. They're the two. They're literally, I think Tyreek Hill's the number 1 and Jalen Waddle's the number 3 fastest wide receivers in the NFL. The person in between them is freaking Jamison Williams. That's the only person in between them. That's a scary combination. And as much as I love our DBs and I feel pretty confident about them, those guys have not faced the likes of a Tyreek Hill or a Jalen Waddle in terms of speed, like pure speed. So if our defensive line can get into the backfield, different story. I think that's a 24-21 win Jets way. But if we can't create pressure on Teddy Bridgewater and he's able to get back there and launch that ball and give those guys just a little bit of time, I see that getting away from us real quick. The safeties, again, they had an incredible game this past week. But even though my recap video has me eating a receipt, like literally eating a receipt because of the LaMarcus Joyner freaking performance, I'm not there to be able to say oh my God, we figured it out that our safeties are the shit. Like, I'm not there yet. But if they freaking can somehow, some way contain Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Gesicki, bro, I'll eat all the receipts there is to eat. I'm all about it. Because that's my biggest fear and I think that freaking Bridgewater has a stronger arm than Tua. People are laughing when I'm like, no, I think he has a stronger arm than Tua. Not by much, but I think it's stronger. And that being said, means he can go ahead and afford to go ahead and wait in the pocket a little bit longer than necessary to go ahead and wait for those guys to get open downfield. That terrifies me. But I got 24-21, the Jets taking an L.
Go ahead, Manny. Give me your score.
Quick point here for you. Correct me if I'm wrong, Danny. You were the one who said, and you texted me this a few times, Teddy Bridgewater is not as bad as everybody thinks he is. Was that you that said that?
Name me a better backup quarterback.
But I'm saying that was you that said that, correct?
Exactly. Yes. And I think I feel better if Tua was playing.
Same here. Okay, I've been saying that. People think I'm crazy. I'm like, nah, I prefer play Tua than to play Teddy Bridgewater.
So stick with me
Teddy Bridgewater with his legs. Okay, I'm sticking with you.
Here. You said that, and then the follow-up to that point, you also said, even though it was a short week with no practice and just mental reps, because he wasn't on the field to take those reps against the Bengals, he looked pretty decent for a guy who did. Oh, okay. So now you're saying Teddy Bridgewater, pretty solid quarterback.
Put up 17 points.
10 days of practice to get ready for you guys.
Yes.
And now you're just saying he's only going to put up 21 points against. Was it 21?
17.
You're being super disrespectful.
Yeah. Look. Let me tell you something. Week 1, everybody was like, oh, week 1, the Dolphins did so great. That offense was so amazing. Oh, we put up 17.
It wasn't.
You guys scored 10 offensive points, and everybody was on your jock. You guys. Outside of that fourth quarter, outside of that fourth quarter against the Ravens, you guys have looked okay.
Listen, you can't remove a whole quarter. It doesn't matter if we score 0 points for the first.
But if we're talking about if we're talking about 4 games, I can say out of 4 games, 16 quarters, you've looked average for 15 of them. That means something.
And there were some pretty good opponents, right? Because I think the majority of the experts had us starting 1-4,
1-4,
2-2.
Come on, Brady Quinn had us at 0-9. Who cares what the experts say?
That's what I'm saying. Fair enough.
Also true.
It's also fair enough. But what I'm saying is, don't give my backup quarterback cookies and then try to take it away from him. So again,
look, like I said, I think he'd put up 17. If it was Tua, I'd say 14.
Disrespectful. Oh my God! How dare you? So, like Gumby said, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, Chase Edmonds, dropping that pass last week. Chase Edmonds coming in the back. Raheem Mostert, a lot of speed coming out of that backfield. Even if it's simple dump-offs that Teddy Bridgewater will complete, like you said, Tua was kind of forcing a lot of passes while he was in there, trying to get down the field repeatedly over and over again. I don't think Teddy Bridgewater has that mentality. I think he's quicker to see if that's not available, I'm going to dump it off to the safe option. So when it comes to mentality, I feel stronger with Teddy Bridgewater coming into this game with 10 days to prepare for you guys. The running game.
Quan Alexander is going to blow up one of your running backs.
I'm sure he is. And CJ Mosley's also been playing great football for you guys as well.
Yeah.
So running the rock, we haven't been effective running the rock. We're kind of like you guys, but I also told you earlier with the start of the season is I think our passing will set up the run. Ultimately, that hasn't happened yet. Is this the week that we could possibly run the rock against you guys? Because you guys aren't that good against the run. I don't know, because Mike McDaniel is also not using Mike Gesicki the way he's not running the rock with Chase Edmonds and Raheem Mostert. So ultimately, yesterday I told you in the show, I picked 2017 us. I think, like Gumby, I think it's a 3-point game. But just because you were so disrespectful to say we're only going to put up 7 points, I'm going to say
17.
Whatever. You were being disrespectful. You're so disrespectful that I can't get it out of my head. I think we're going to put up 27 points, and you guys are going to put up 14, and it's going to be a Miami Dolphins victory.
Well, I want you to understand something real quick.
Yeah.
Week 1, there's a lot of upsets. Obviously, because it's the first game of the season, everybody's rusty. But also because when you're opening up in your home, it's a lot of emotion there, right?
Yeah.
And you don't get that home opener emotion again, unless it's like maybe a playoff game or a really big primetime game.
Fair enough.
Yep, that's fact.
But the energy on Sunday with Zach Wilson making his home debut this year is going to be like a home opener. Okay? Especially after winning against the Steelers last week. And because we know it, there's a lot of Dolphin fans that show up to MetLife. So Jets fans know that.
They travel well.
They do.
MetLife takeover, baby. Hashtag MetLife takeover.
They travel so well.
So I do believe that the atmosphere in that stadium is going to be it's going to be big time, and I think that's going to help the team also. And you said I was being disrespectful, so I wanted to look it up. You guys scored 20 points against the Patriots.
Yeah.
13 of those were offensive.
Yep.
You guys scored 42 against the Baltimore Ravens, right?
Yes,
but the majority of those were in the fourth quarter.
That's fine.
Then you put up 21 against Buffalo, 4 more than the 14 I predicted.
Yep.
And then last week you put up 15 points. So am I really that far off?
With our quarterback going down, you
still had your two receivers and the same quarterback that you're talking about right now is the one that's going to play on Sunday.
First of all, Jalen Waddle was nowhere to be seen that second half. I don't know if you didn't.
Yeah, he got hurt.
I don't know if he mentally checked out.
I know. I have
him
on my fantasy team. Believe me, I know.
Right. I don't
Same here. I was so pissed.
And seeing his quarterback went down just mentally checked him out. But ultimately, he wasn't on the injury report. I don't know if
he was hampered. No, he was hampered. He took a hit. And because I remember he went to the sideline. He did the whole I need out.
Yeah.
I think he tried to gut it out. But
That's what I think.
He was not.
In second half, he was gone.
Yeah, he was gone, man.
So again, mini bye week. Both of those guys, Teddy Bridgewater, Jalen Waddle, and Xavier Howard, my guy. You guys were not going to be competitive in December, and you're not going to be competitive this game.
Okay.
You're going to
lose this game. Now you're being disrespectful.
No. He started
it. Again, you guys have basically averaged 17 points every game already this year, so I don't know how I'm being disrespectful.
Listen, Tyreek also leads the league. He leads the league in yards, and he's got more catching yards than what is it? I think you called them out, the Chicago Bears. They've looked terrible. He has more receiving yards than a few teams out there.
Let me be clear, Manny. Either Tyreek Hill
will beat you by
or
himself.
Jalen Waddle are going to get lost in the sauce.
Oh, my God.
And let's not forget, DJ Reed right now is the number 2 rated defensive back in the entire NFL.
Yeah, and he's 5'7". I'm not sure how he's doing.
5 foot. I don't know how he's doing it, man. And I kept telling people, if DJ Reed, no bullshit, if DJ Reed had been 6 feet tall in the during this offseason,
he'd be
no freaking way he's a Jet. No way. We couldn't afford him. We could not afford him. If he was 6 foot tall, no way he's on the Jets roster right now.
Hey, Brent Grimes used to do that. He used to ball out, and he was a little guy.
I remember him.
I used to hate Brent Grimes. I want to leave one last thing. I want to leave you with Sauce Gardner. I think he's been playing amazing, but you know what's impressed me the most about Sauce Gardner is that I thought that he would be getting flags left and right because he was so physical and so handsy in college.
He's been good.
Yes, good. And I was like, it's gonna be like a really big learning curve, and it's gonna be a lot of flags thrown his way. He hasn't gotten one flag this year, not one.
As much as we talk shit about the Jets freaking coaches because we're all mad and we're upset. We have to give credit. The job they've done with this rookie group of individuals.
Yeah.
It's been impeccable. Because if you look at it, we haven't gotten a flag from any of our rookies except for I want to say Michael Clemens on a
special teams,
a late hit. It was a special teams, special teams.
Yes.
Hit. That's it. Our rookies have been balling out, and they've not cost us in terms of penalties, which you would expect because they're freaking rookies.
Yep.
And like you just said, Sauce Gardner. And when you looked at the concept, that was the one thing I was like, man, he's way too handsy in the NFL. Not gonna go with that shit, man. That's a hole. That's a hole. That's a pass interference. Yep. But he's been able to go ahead and be very precise in his timing for the pass breakups. Yeah, that's a good thing to bring up, man. Because I'll say this: the coaching staff, as much as we've talked shit about them, for you to go ahead and coach up these rookies to be playing like vets, you've got to give credit to the coaching staff when it comes to that kind 100%. Of performance. I'll give them that all day. I'll give them that all day.
We're up against the clock, but I had one more question. It's a real good one. It's a real short one.
Okay. All right.
How good was that brisket taco that you had? Because it looked good on the camera. It looked good.
Okay, my brother makes the best brisket I've ever had out here in Texas.
Yep.
I've been here for freaking 14 years. My brother is from California. Learn how to make freaking let me rephrase that. He's from Pittsburgh. He was a Marine as well. We were all Marines. He was a Marine as well.
Right.
We're stationed in he learned how to make brisket in California. Dog, I've had like award-winning brisket here in Texas, and they don't even come close to what my brother can make in his smoker, bro.
I need you to ship me some, man, because that taco looked good.
You know what? Done.
And the crunch on the shell, when you bit into
that's HEB tortilla, bro. That's that HEB tortilla.
Right now, I was like, damn, that look good.
I got you. Well, I got you.
Thanks a lot for joining us. We really appreciate your time.
Hey, this was fun.
I've enjoyed following you on Twitter. I got to start tuning in on Tuesdays now that I know that it's consistently every Tuesday.
Taco Tuesdays. Yep.
So Taco Tuesdays, Tuesday nights at 8 o'clock Eastern, 7 o'clock Central.
7 p.m. Central. Yep.
And again, thank you for joining us, and hopefully we're celebrating.
I would love to be back. By the way,
no, for sure.
You guys are fucking awesome. I would love to be
appreciate
back
that.
on the show again.
No, for sure.
This has been a blast.
No, we'll for sure we'll bring you back. We'll bring you back at some point later this year.
Awesome,
all right, man. Again, appreciate you like always, Mr. Beater Fanatic. I was not being disrespectful. Strictly facts.
Yes, you
were. And I look forward to talking shit to you next week, sir.
All right, boys. Peace.
All right, guys.
Good night, gentlemen. Yeah, have a good one.